Peace and blessings. This is Unplugem. Once again, we come to you in the name of the Most High. I'm here live and direct with my sister Darkness. And just in having a conversation, we came upon a subject I want to bring to you, and the first of an installment that I get to hopefully put up on YouTube called the Occult Ghetto, where I want to examine different things, different phenomena you only find in primarily the African American community, and perhaps other researchers of the occult and all things Illuminati might miss these things just because they're not in the community and don't get a chance to see the different things that go on that the Illuminati aim at specific ethnic groups. We know they're out to kill everybody, black and white. So again, it's not a thing to support any sort of racial division whatsoever, because we're going to need one another in the end to defeat the true enemy who operates the pawns on the black and white Illuminati chessboard. But because I am of a particular ethnicity and from the African American community, born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, one of the hair capitals, one of the black hair capitals of America, something has come to my attention, as I said, through talking with Sister Darkness about her possibly getting some locks. And I've had locks before. A lot of my brothers and sisters wear locks. Right now, I'm wearing what they call the Murder One up under the kufi. The bald head, just starting over from scratch. But I'm not against locks, although we will look at things that the Bible says about plaits and braids, the mistranslations, the true meanings of those things, and then we're also going to get into, most importantly, the chemical warfare that's waged upon your hair. And this is going to be a part of, once again, the series, The Occult Ghetto. And this installment we're going to call The Occult Ghetto, Weave, Hair Salons, Babylon. And again, being from Detroit, one of the hair capitals of the world, you see a lot of hair salons. You see as many hair salons as you do liquor stores and Christian churches. Now, I may have a kufi on my head, which is often associated with Islamic, although I consider myself of the tribe of Israel, and a Hebrew Israelite by definition, although I don't like to put myself in any of those boxes. There's tricks in every mix. But again, I just wear the kufi to associate myself with a consciousness, my African heritage, and just as a cultural identification. But again, we have to be cautious about everything that we do concerning our crown. So we're going to start at the top in this series. This wasn't the first idea, but again, it came just by happenstance through talking about getting dreads. And the Most High brought it to my attention that there's much ado about black women's hair. It's a big deal to you guys, and the reasons are many. But one of the main reasons is because let's start at the top. Everything starts at the top. The beginning of the astrological signs, the first sign, of course, is Aries, which is not just the head, but the top of the head. When dealing with the 7 or 9 energy centers of the body, people call chakras. The top chakra is the crown chakra. And we know just in normal Eurocentric studies of science that it is the higher consciousness that's found in the top parts of the brain, the different functions of the brain, in different centers, different areas. Well, the top part of the brain is key. And this is one thing evidenced also in little babies when they have the soft spot. It's right in the top part of the head, the last part of the body of the skull to finally form that protective crown chakra, which is constantly taking in messages and signals from on high, from the Most High, who's in constant communication with us as his chosen vessels. with which to express himself. Well, at the top of the vessels that he chose to express himself, he put hair, what we call hair. He put hair all over our bodies. But the significant amount is at the very top, and that's for a purpose. And we're going to examine that purpose, and more importantly, we're going to examine some of the names and intents behind the products that are used to coat and cover the receptor to higher consciousness, which we call the hair. So, but for those who see the Bible as authority, as I do, on many things, I'm also going to point out some biblical scriptures. For those who see no merit in it, it don't matter. By the time the video's done, you will understand that there's an assault on you, whether or not you believe in scripture, whether or not you are a Christian, a Muslim, or agnostic. At the end of the day, there's an assault on your ability to connect to on high, to catch the messages that are coming through the ether from your divine creator, who's constantly everywhere. At all times, he's omnipresent, as well as all-powerful, omnipotent. So we want to start and base everything off of Jeremiah 9:20 for one. And again, this is, we know we all have our personal preferences, the things that we want to do to our bodies for beautification, but we have to be careful and cautious in these days and times when we know that there is a force like unto an illuminati, a devilish, satanic, Luciferian force whose main goal is to cut off your connection to the Supreme, to the Creator, to the Almighty, to the Most High. And so we have to examine the things in this land that we habitually turn to for our eating, or for our hygiene, or for our hair care, which is very important, and we don't place as much importance on it as we should. And the hair care industry is partially to blame because they don't make you think of your hair as a spiritual thing. Your hair is thought of as something to dress up, adornment, part of your costume. So you do any and everything to your hair. Color it, put lye and dye on it. Lye and dye. We will examine that as well. But Jeremiah 9:20. Yet hear the word of the Lord, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth, and teach your daughters wailing, and every one her neighbor lamentation. So this word is for the women, and to hear this word of God, and to lament and repent for the things that Babylon has aimed directly at you. There's a proverb that states that the key to taking over civilization is to take over its women. And if that's the case, then the women of humankind have been assaulted, especially by the fallen angels, by way of cosmetics. And we're taught in the book of Enoch that it was the fallen angels indeed who brought cosmetics to mankind. The fallen angel Gadriel, taught the use of cosmetics to mankind. And if you think about the very use of cosmetics and it's all about deception. It's putting a mask on. Some women in older times would use the expression, I need to go put on my face. Some women sleep in makeup, and today you can get makeup tattooed on your body. This is an attempt at creating a new you. Well, the problem is, when we think, there's a tricky thing that the mind controllers do, and it's mind controllers behind the mega corporations who put out cosmetics, and it's mind controllers in deeper, darker, more significant places behind them. But the mind controllers know that though you believe that you can create your own self and be in control of that, they know that once you've stepped out of yourself, once you've allowed another self to be created, whether you creating it consciously or it's getting created subconsciously by media, once you step out of your real self, possession ensues. And this is what the demonic culture that we're in, whether or not we believe in it or not, there is a culture that is demonic, satanic, and Luciferian at its very highest heights. And so their goal is to always create a shell you, or to hollow you out altogether, but have you create an alternate you. Facebook, another face. People have whole other names. Keisha, I'm so lovely Johnson. People do a whole new identity thing.
Face
and
off.
Huh?
Face off.
Right, exactly. Face Off, like the movie. It's a Project Janice switcheroo. Very good add-on, Sister Darkness. And it's about creating a new you, Project Janice. If you think of the symbol that you sometimes see for Gemini, that happy face, the laugh now, and the cry later face, the sad face. It's to represent comedy and drama, which goes all the way back to acting. And in acting, the original thing of acting was you were acting out different gods. And the best actors were the ones who could actually be possessed by these. We know there were no gods, but that's what they call these demonic entities, or these extra dimensional beings. These beings were called gods. And to be the best actor, you really would want the being to step into you. And so we relate that all the way today to the possession that is supposed to be created through the use of cosmetics, as well as all other creations of another identity. It's the Beyonce Sasha Fierce dynamic all over again. And you create another self when you put on these cosmetics. And it's what the fallen one, Gadriel, one of the 200 fallen, we believe from study that there are more than 200 in total, but there were 200 bosses running things when the fallen angels came down here, as is told in Genesis, in the early chapters of Genesis, speaking of the Nephilim. So when the fallen angels came down here and taught man these practices, you have the ancient societies that we know were established by black cultures, Egypt, Babylon, who were taught these things first. And although people pin the wearing of makeup mostly on Jezebel, that's not entirely correct, because you want to go beyond Jezebel. Jezebel was doing a practice that she saw from the pagans who were before her, which would have been Babylon and Egypt before, or what some call Kemet, because I maintain that it wasn't just the white Egypt that took wrong turns. We see evidence in Kemet of the same reptilian or fallen angel or Nephilim influence, causing them to do the practices that we carry on to this day, such as cosmetics. Cosmetics goes all the way back to what the fallen ones taught the original man and the original woman. And so, yes, Jezebel is most famous for giving women the idea of makeup in the biblical times, but in pre-biblical history, you find makeup, of course, on the walls of the women on Egyptian hieroglyphs. You see the makeup, you see the eye makeup. But we can look at all sorts of different makeup, and nail polish is another big business. Hair and nail salons, big booming business here in Detroit, also in Atlanta. And ironically, you have Detroit and Atlanta, both two Boule capitals. That's Black Illuminati for those who aren't aware. The leg of the Illuminati aimed specifically at giving orders to the black community, is what they call the Boule, mostly comprised of the black fraternities. But Detroit and Atlanta represent the old and the new version of this. Again, a Project Janice dynamic. One side and the other side, laugh now, cry later type of dynamic. Showing, again, the Project Janice, even in the two cities that lead in black culture, in hair and nails and makeup and all the things of creating a new mask, a new you. So you have the Project Janus dynamic there, the old school Detroit and the new school Atlanta. Detroit up north, Atlanta down south. Detroit is cold, Atlanta is hot Atlanta. So, old looking city, new looking city. But again, these are just aspects of the devil's constant promotion through his agents, through his government agents, because those who govern us, as we learn in Ephesians 6 and 12, are those principalities in dark high places that are neither flesh or blood. So it's not white, it's not the white man, it's not just the boule, the brothers, it's not any one particular race. The races are being manipulated by these fallen angels or these spirits. Okay, so we start at the top. The head or the crown chakra is where the hair is connected to. Now, whether you have 9 ether hair, 8 ether hair, 7 ether hair, or your hair is what they consider straight, there are products aimed at your grade of hair. Now, when I used to watch Soul Train, I used to always trip about the guy's voice who would do the little commercial for Positive. This is Positive, lustrous silk. He sounded so corny and lush and seductive. The brother sounded smooth and seductive. You could imagine the ladies swoon when they hear that type of voice. Because seduction is a big part of these products. Now, again, I neither endorse nor condemn either of these products, just for legal purposes. These are just for display. For example, you have pink products that are often used in big pink bottles, such as these here. These two happen to be by a company called Luster. Lusters. Pink. And the vibration of pink. Sister Darkness and I, as I said, just stumbled upon this, and it took for the sister, of course, with the true knowledge of the yoni, to say right and exact, the pink represents the womb. And it has to do with lust, because it is through the trapping by way of cosmetics, that's trapping a man by way of magic, that the sin is committed. It's not just the painting of the face. It's the painting of the face with the intent of looking different than you look, being other than yourself, or attracting men. This constitutes witchcraft. So there's much witchcraft involved in the creation of these products. On my video about Eminem and Proof, I talked about how the record business has satanic priests who pray over the master tape. Well, you better believe that the chemicals that products like these are based off of is preyed off of also, in my opinion. That is what would make perfect sense to me, with the intent, of course, being trickery. Again, two of the most common things that you find in hair salons and among women's products in the closet is lie and die. And where do you keep the mask stuff? In the closet, right? But lie and die. I remember hearing the commercials on Black radio, no lie relaxer. Meaning that the relaxers prior to that had lie over lie based. So lie, we know, you see the difference in spelling is L-Y-E, but the phonetic difference is non-existent. It sounds the same as L-I-E, as does die, D-Y-E, the same as D-I-E. And we know from the spell of spelling, which we'll also do a video on, there are many letters that exist today that are but witchcraft symbols, newly created symbols that came from out of nowhere. And the other letters, the ancient letters, also come from, by and large, even in Hebrew, letters that were considered supernatural in power. And so the Y is one of those letters. It is a key letter in the pronunciation of the name of the Creator, whether one believes it to be Yahweh or Ahaya. You have the Yah, the Y, and the why being the question that leads to all answers, the endless question that a child can ask, the why. But why, we know, a pen, why is the original letter for I, wherever you see I. And Y, I, and J all share this same relationship, and it's all based on the spell of spelling. But again, not to get too far off into it, but again, don't let the word change fool you. Die and lie are satanic taunts to taunt you. We know that there are different things that are done in Satanism to blatantly show that Satan is behind it, and different people have different theories on that. My basic theory is that Lucifer has rules. His angels, his minions, the demons, the fallen ones, however, they have rules, and they can't break the rules. And one of the rules is you have to willingly choose them by your will. They can't impede upon your free will. Somehow or another, you must let them in and willingly choose them. And so Lucifer will show you himself by his marks. And we'll talk about that a lot in the Newport, Nike, Souls and Spirits Occult Ghetto video soon to come, if y'all like this. But again, the spell of spelling shows us that Y, I, and J are all the same letter, oftentimes creating the same sound in some words. Okay, but so we know that the die and lie trick here is just a trick to replace the letter to the ancient letter, thinking that you won't consciously pick up that it's the same thing because it's spelled differently. However, your subconscious mind knows. That's another reason for showing himself to you, because you know he can go to the Lord, he can go to the Most High, quote unquote, go to symbolically and say, well, hey, look, I showed them it was me, and they knew that it was me. So again, that is a trick in the hair care world that you find often aimed at the African American community. And a lot of things are aimed at different communities, for various reasons, each for different reasons, because the Supreme Being has given us all our place in nature, and the illuminated ones, the Illuminati, so to speak, know different things about different races and ways to aim specific weapons at them. So specific weapons are aimed at you, my sisters. Your natural state of hair, the non-ether state, unblemished, undefiled, without the unclean thing of the different products, the gels and the glycerins, all of these chemicals which begin at the hair, get down to the follicle, the root, down into the scalp. That's what a follicle is. It's in the scalp. So this shows you that these chemicals get down into the scalp. You know that because different things that you put on your head, they tell you it's good for the scalp, right? Different type of oils, jojoba oil. That's another example. Jojoba oil. Cause I was trying to think of one where J is like a Y. Jojoba oil. But jojoba oil, different type of oils, they tell you are beneficial to the hair, and when you put them on the scalp, they're good for your scalp. Well, we also maintain that the things that you put on the skin absorb into the body and affect beyond the skin, down into the bone even. And we know this to be true for many different chemicals. So you have these chemicals which you don't know anything about. And nowadays, there's more sisters who are leaning toward the natural hairstyle, and that is by no coincidence, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be at the end, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the last days. So you have a lot of sisters now going back to the original state because they just don't know why their hair keeps breaking off, or they just don't know why they have alopecia, or why bald spots are occurring, or why they can't get their natural hair color back, because they have bombarded their antennae, because hair is nothing but an extension of yourself through which you feel the universe, you feel the ether. Think of Goosebumps. Consider a cat. When a cat is aroused, when certain emotions arise upon a cat, what happens? His hairs stand up on his back. Well, when you feel a certain type of way, something make you feel some type of way, you might get goosebumps, which is not your skin just jumping up, it's the hairs raising up, the tiny hairs prickling up. So these things are especially sensitive to the environment around us. We have to remember this and be cautious about what you apply to your hair and know the origins of it, especially when there seems to be some contrived effort against you particularly and your hair. For many years, sisters complained about there not being enough black hair care products. Well, now there are a slew of them. And again, I'm not condemning or damning or saying, slandering any of these in particular. But there are so many different hair care products. We're just using these as examples today. That you have to be especially suspicious when you know that there's a new world order who doesn't make products for your benefit. They don't make things, medicines for you to use one time and be cured. They make things to keep you hooked, to keep you buying things. And I maintain that they put things in chemicals like these in order to not only keep you hooked and addicted to it, but to alter your higher consciousness. Think of how wild some of the women act who often go in and out of the hair salon the most. Women who may be employed in the